Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel. So as you know, Captain Marvel has been hotly anticipated. We've had a few things swirling around it involving controversies, the Rotten Tomatoes, Brie Larson. I don't want to focus on any of that. I don't really want to talk about all that. I just went into the movie completely not caring about any of those things. I always try to do that. I hate when movies have controversy around them. I hate when movies have production controversies, the actors have issues offset. I hate it. I just want to see the movie. I want to take in the actual movie itself without all those peripheral things and just talk about how I felt about it. And that's what I'm going to do with this movie. So this is the newest installment in the MCU. And this movie actually takes place long before the rest of the MCU, except for Captain America after that. But you know what I mean. So it takes place before the modern film part of the MCU taking place during the Avengers period. And I don't want to get too bogged down in the plot of this film. I think that if you've seen the movie, you don't need to hear it. I think most people that are excited to see the movie don't need me to tell you what the story of the film is. I just want to go over it and talk about what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. So yeah, let's just do that. So, as far as the acting, I thought that Brie Larson was fine. I thought that she, at times, was very charismatic. I thought she was very likable at times. And I really did grow to have more interest in her character as the film progressed. I think early on in the film, it jumps into it very quickly and you're kind of just thrown into it. It's not like your traditional origin story. This movie kind of has her discovering her own origin throughout the film. So you kind of are just expected to be along with this ride right off the bat. And that didn't bother me too much, but at the same time, I didn't get any connection with this character. I'm just thrown in with this character. And I think as the movie went on, I grew to like the character more as she understood who she was and who she was going to be. And I am interested to see the character going forward, and I think Brie Larson did a pretty decent job. Samuel Jackson is back as Nick Fury, and I liked it. I thought he was really funny in this movie. I'll have to admit, it is kind of weird seeing him in this light because obviously in the later Avengers movies, he's more seasoned and more of a veteran of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's kind of more cynical. And this movie, he's more lighthearted. He's funnier. I liked him and Brie Larson's chemistry on set. I thought they were really funny together. They played off each other really well. But it was weird seeing him in a different light. It didn't feel like Nick Fury when I was watching him. It felt like this goofy side character. Jude Law in the movie, I thought he was just in it. I didn't think he was anything special. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was terrible. He was just there. The rest of the supporting cast was fine. They were also kind of just in the periphery. It really, really focuses a great deal on Captain Marvel, apparently, and Nick Fury. The rest of the characters are kind of just there to move the plot along and give more details into the character's past and future and things like that. The story itself is pretty generic. It has some twists and turns that I thought were really predictable. I didn't particularly care for this story. I thought as far as Marvel stories go, it's pretty formulaic and I don't know, it's nothing to write home about, but it was entertaining at times, and I did like some of the messages that went into it. Speaking of the messages, I think a lot of people thought this was going to be very agenda-driven and very, girl power, and it does have that, I'm not going to lie, it has those girl power moments. At times, they do feel a little shoehorned in. It felt like we need to have this in the film. Other times, it felt very natural and very relatable and made you understand kind of how this character's interacting with the world around her, but for most, it was kind of love or hate with that for me. I think there was shoehorned in at times, but I think Marvel always does that. There's the same thing in this film as a lot of other movies in the MCU that I have issues with, and that is the amount of humor that feels forced. Marvel movies can be hilarious. I think the Guardians films are hilarious. I think the little in-jokes in the Avengers films are funny, but other times, I'll admit, they feel a little forced. They feel a little cheesy, and that's fine and everything. If you like that, you love it, but for me, I don't know, it feels forced probably like 30% of the time. The action in the film I thought was really good. This movie at times really feels like the MCU meets Star Trek for me. It's very otherworldly, kind of like Guardians, but in a more grounded way than Guardians, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it. But when I was watching this movie, multiple times I was like, this feels like a Star Trek movie. Like things about it, the characters, their dialogue, just the way it is. I personally enjoyed it. But yeah, it was kind of different. It was different for a Marvel movie. It didn't feel as, I don't know how to explain it. It didn't feel as much like a Marvel movie as some of the main core films have. Like, you're watching a Marvel movie and it's very apparent. This felt at times that it kind of strayed from that a little bit. The CGI in this film, it's your normal blockbuster CGI. It has times where it looks really cool and really awesome and other times where it looks really bad. And one of the things that I personally thought looked bad at times was they do some de-aging on some characters in this movie, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't for me. It was very that plasticky look on their face, and that bothered me a little bit. And there are some scenes that are entirely CG, which I grow to expect. I can't hate it, but there's other scenes where you have the green screen backdrop with the actors, and that looks a little rough for me. When you have that very matte, like they look like they're popping off of it, and that's in almost every blockbuster film, especially in Marvel movies, and those scenes take me out of it. But other than that, I thought it was serviceable. It looks fine. Looks like every other superhero movie I've seen. So if I were to rate this movie, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I was going into it kind of expecting it to be something that I just was going to find really flat and boring. And I'm not going to lie, there were times where I felt this movie is a little flat and it's very basic, but I still thought it was very fun. I thought that the character became more interesting as the film went on. I liked the second half of the film a lot more than the first half of the film, and I grew to really find interest in the story and find interest in the characters, and it leading into Avengers and leading into the whole rest of the MCU is obviously a plus for me. I love the interconnected stuff with these movies. Some people feel like that's really forced and that really hinders some of the things they can do in the movies. I like it. I think it adds something to it and it fits it in. I like the movies that fit in to the MCU. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and let me know what you thought about Captain Marvel as a film. If you've seen it, are you excited to see it? Honestly, I really don't care about the controversy around the movie. I don't feel like it needs to be compared to other films like Wonder Woman. It's just a movie, and I went into it just watching it for what it is, and I thought it was pretty good. Do I think it's amazing and incredible? No, but it's fine. As far as the MCU goes, I feel like it just falls in the middle for me. It's a decent movie. It's not top 3 of the whole franchise for me. It's not bottom 3 of the whole franchise, but somewhere in the middle. I think it's enjoyable. I think if you like Marvel, you'll like this movie. I think if you're going into it thinking, like, you can't go into this movie thinking you're going to hate it because you're going to hate it. And if you go into this movie thinking you're going to love it, you'll probably find something to love about it. But just go into it with an open mind if you want to see it. Just have a good time. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. All right, see you guys next time.